So a judge says that Donald Trump knew he was lying when he signed a document saying that there was voter fraud. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So U.S. District Judge David Carter had previously said that he believed Donald Trump committed some crimes. The reason this was relevant is that prosecutors were trying to get copies of documents that lawyer John Eastman had written, advising Donald Trump on how to overturn the election. Eastman claimed that those documents were protected as a result of attorney-client privilege. But prosecutors argued that those documents were not privileged based upon what's called the crime-fraud exception. Basically, what that exception says is that a lawyer can't help a client commit a crime, and anything that is involved in the process of the lawyer helping the client commit a crime is not privileged. This is a big deal because, generally speaking, the attorney-client privilege is one of the most sacred privileges we have here in the United States. We want people to be able to obtain good legal counsel when they're charged with a crime. At the same time, lawyers shouldn't be helping their clients commit crimes. That's the point of this exception. Well, the judge previously said that Donald Trump likely committed crimes. And as a result of that, he wanted to look at the documents. And if they somehow pertained to helping Donald Trump commit crimes, then those documents would be turned over to the FBI because they would fall within that crime-fraud exception. Well, as it turns out, now we hear the judge has found that those documents contained evidence that Donald Trump knew he was lying when he made all those assertions that he had actually won the election, and that the only reason he wasn't taking the presidency was because of voter fraud. In fact, apparently, the documents included an email in which Eastman wrote that Trump had signed a document that was going to be submitted to court that later turned out to be inaccurate, and that he advised that Trump sign a different document that was more accurate and did not contain the inaccurate information. This was information that was included in one of the lawsuits in Georgia to try to overturn the election there. Well, as it turns out, Donald Trump never signed a different document, and the inaccurate document was submitted to court. In other words, he signed a document under penalty of perjury that was submitted to court after he had been advised by John Eastman that that document was not accurate. Well, this is just one more of the growing body of evidence that Donald Trump knew he was lying when he made all the allegations about voter fraud and the claims that he had actually won the election. I mean, consider the video that we saw here at the January 6th Commission hearing. Opening this segment is Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, one of the heroes of this story. Let's check it out.
Although he publicly claimed that he had won the election, privately he admitted that Joe Biden would take over as president. Here's a few examples of that.
So we're in the Oval and there's a discussion going on. And the president says, I think it could have been Pompeo, but he says words to the effect of, yeah, we lost. We need to let that issue go to the next guy, meaning President Biden.
I remember maybe a week after the election was called, I popped into the Oval just to give the president the headlines and see how he was doing. And he was looking at the TV and he said, "Can you believe I lost to this effing guy?"
Now, that's really pretty compelling testimony. We have both a general testifying that he heard Donald Trump admit that he lost, and one of his aides admit that he lost. Let's keep watching.
Mark raised it with me on the 18th, and so following that conversation where the motorcade arrived driving back to the White House, and I said, does the president really think that he lost? And he said, a lot of times he'll tell me that he lost, but he wants to keep fighting it, and he thinks that there might be enough to overturn the election, but he pretty much has acknowledged that he's lost.
That's the famed Cassidy Hutchinson, who testified to the consternation of Donald Trump about some of the internal machinations of the Trump White House. But the reason this is important is the nature of what fraud is legally. To commit fraud, you have to know that you are lying at the time you make certain representations. Making a mistake or making a misstatement by accident is not fraud. And as a result, if Donald Trump is going to be charged with committing fraud with respect to these various efforts to overturn the election, there needs to be evidence that he knew he was lying at the time he made these statements. Well, the evidence appears to be growing that that is the case, and that's big trouble for Donald Trump. At a minimum, this will certainly be evidence that will be used by Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney Fani Willis in her investigation. An investigation she already said could lead to charges against Donald Trump and some of his high-up officials. And you know that it's part of the growing file that the FBI is developing on Donald Trump and his family's various crimes. It's clear the net is closing in for Donald Trump, and now we have a federal judge once again validating that fact. Well, if you want to check out a video I did quite a while ago about the investigation into Donald Trump that's going on in Georgia, check out this video over here, along with the potential charges for espionage for taking top secret documents out of the White House. This could be one of the biggest legal issues that Donald Trump faces going forward. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.